Okay, so today, here's my notes for the day. And I wanted to talk about a trend I've seen recently because I saw a TikTok on my For You page of these people at art museums. And it's this trend going on where people will take photos of themselves next to the art that they think they could do. And it was like a slideshow of this girl, and she was posing in front of different modern art pieces, and she had this like smug little smile next to each one of them. And I don't know, it rubbed me wrong because there's just this growing anti-intellectualism in our culture that we view. It started off with modern art, where we view it as like, oh, if I can do it, then it's not good art, and a lot the usual rebuttal is people will be like, well, what makes it brilliant is that they did it first, and I think that is a good point of it. They did it first. You didn't do it. It's easy to replicate something that's already been done, but I think it's also the fact that we shouldn't judge art at all based on the effort level. Some of the best pieces of art were made with low effort, and they're great. We shouldn't strive. Art shouldn't be painful for the sake of being painful. And I saw a couple comments on there that were saying like, bring back the Renaissance. Like, we want Renaissance paintings back. And I think there's just so much that is like almost tone deaf about that, because the Renaissance, all art periods are a reflection of their historical era. And with the Renaissance, those artists were given like money by people to just work on their art for days at hand with no, they weren't living in the economic places we are now. Like the Mona Lisa they spent so much time on that. The Mona Lisa could never happen today because the amount of money that would be lost by letting an artist just work on the Mona Lisa forever. No one would ever let them do that, or no artist could survive on that anymore. And then also, it's just, I saw some people saying that like reading books is elitist, and like there's just this idea that like education is something snobby or pretentious to do, which is weird because for me, I've always felt that whenever I encountered something or someone who knows more than me on something that I like to know something on, like let's say that I meet someone and they have better movie taste than me, or they know more about art history than me. I don't see that as an attack on me. I see that as I should take the steps so I can learn more and be on their level. It also came to mind with, I saw when videos of the Letterboxd top fours, where the Letterboxd will film people and ask, what are your top 4 movies? Whenever they give any sort of pretentious or obscure movie, the comments are always like, oh, why couldn't they just pick a normal movie? Like, they have to be so pretentious. And it's like, they're asking people who are like successful in that industry, shouldn't we want the successful people in the industry to be knowledgeable on the more obscure parts of that art form? It's just this weird, like, we want everyone to be on the same intelligence level as us so that no one feels inferior, but inferiority is how we grow. A big part of it that I also want to talk about was how art is a reaction to where we are. Because, like I said earlier, books used to be purely written to tell stories. A big thing with Madame Bovary was like the pinnacle of realism in literature. But like, you used to read books for the plot. And then around the early 1900s, film came out, and most films at that time were just taking old books and filming them. And then people realized that all these old books are way easier to digest, way more enjoyable when they're just filmed, because you don't have to imagine it in your head. So then that's what birthed modernist literature, which was the unfilmable novel, basically, which is like James Joyce and Virginia Woolf, where they're trying to write books that can't be made into movies because they're showing, and that's basically what I'm trying to go for, is that art works better when no other medium can tell that story better. And I think there's also just this thing with like plot-centric ideas. Like when you look at Marvel movies, people these days watch them just for the plot. Like, it's almost like a checklist. Like, they just want to get the information out of it. Like, what happened to this character in this movie so I can understand the next one. And there's no, like, when you talk to someone about a Marvel movie or a franchise movie, it's always the plot. They're like, what happened? What character died? What character lived? Where did the plot rise and fall? When a good movie, in my opinion, should be a movie that you enjoy, not just because the plot is enjoyable or you see where the characters go. Like, if you just wanted to see where the characters go, you can just read the Wikipedia article for the movie and have the exact same experience, because that's a movie should work because it shouldn't be able to be replicated just by words. That's why it's a visual medium. So that's basically my rant for the day. I don't know if that was a quicker one. We'll see what the time limit was. But yeah, it all started with that TikTok. And nothing against that TikTok. Well, I guess everything against that TikTok. But I just think, yeah, we need to strive to be more intelligent. And I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to educate ourselves, you know. So